Good afternoon and welcome to the Wells College Presidential Installation Ceremony. My name is John Callahan. For the past 17 years, I have had the privilege and honor of serving as General Counsel to Wells College. My family's relationship with the college in the southern end of Cuyahoga County, however, runs much deeper. In 1891, my grandfather, Francis Callahan, was born on his parents' farm a few miles down the road in King Ferry. Grandpa Callahan became a road building contractor, and in the 1920s, he built and paved the road from Route 90 to McMillan Hall, including the circular driveway in front of us this afternoon. In the 60s and 70s, when Dodge, Leach, Barler, the Long Library, and the Swartz Athletic Center were being built, all of the concrete used in the construction of those buildings was furnished by Callahan Concrete, a company in Auburn, New York, operated by my dad and uncle. However, my most important and significant connection to this outstanding institution occurred in 1981, when I made the very wise decision to marry a Wells woman, Patricia Wenzel Callahan, a member of the Wells College class of 1979. And with that, let us begin. The processional, arriving from McMillan Hall, led by Faculty Marshal Scott Heinkamp, the Wells College Board of Trustees. The college's cabinet. Faculty Emeriti. And the Wells College faculty. arriving from Main Building and led by the historic Wells Fargo Stagecoach, esteemed delegates from fellow institutions of higher education, led by Marshals Nicole Pellegrino and Carol Henderson. Alumni and alumni class representatives in the Wells College tradition, led by Marshals Patricia Wenzel Callahan and Pamela Sheridan. And now, the Presidential Platform Party. Carrie Bolton, Chair of the Wells College Board of Trustees, and Wells College Class of 1992. Vice Chair of the Wells College Board of Trustees, Marie Chapman Carroll, Wells College Class of 1975. Dr. Kevin Kruger, President of NASPA, and the Reverend Barb Blom, Wells College, class of 1982. They are joined by past presidents of Wells College, Dr. Patty McGill Peterson, who served from 1980 till 1987. President Emerita Lisa Marsh Ryerson, Wells College class of 1981, who was president from 1995 to 2013. And interim president, Dr. Thomas E.J. DeWitt, who was awarded the Wells College Medal upon completion of his two-year term in 2015. Please stand and join me as we welcome the 19th president of Wells College, Jonathan Gibralter. Professor Emeritus of English, G. Allen Clugston.
Ladies and gentlemen, by authority of the Board of Trustees of Wells College, this assembly, the formal inauguration of Dr. Jonathan Gibralter as 19th President of Wells College is now called to order and declared in session.
Please be seated. And welcome to the podium, Trustee Stephen L. Zabriskie.
Thank you, John. Dr. Gibralter, Madam Chairman fellow trustees, former presidents, members of the faculty, administration, staff, alumni and alumni, distinguished delegates, honored guests, students, friends, neighbors. It's my great pleasure to welcome you to this ceremony of installation. In 1867, 149 years ago, my grandfather came to Aurora. 148 years ago, Henry Wells established this institution. 103 years ago, in 1913, the trustees of the college held the first formal inauguration, and board president Zabriskie installed the man who was the seventh president of the college. In 2016, we are close to significant anniversaries, sesquies, and centennials of these occurrences, and it would be a neat package if today's ceremony were a coinciding celebration. But I don't think Dr. Gibraltar or the board will consent to a 2-year delay. Besides, asymmetry is an okay thing. Experts intone about the arc of history, describing an individual's or an institution's or a nation's progress along some line. It's not necessarily positive movement and not necessarily progress. I prefer to think of it as the arc of history with a K. And I urge you to see and savor the connotations in that image. Much inspiration for course correction can be found below decks, and regular review of our history is profitable. We're here today because Henry Wells rejected the insistent invitation of his friend Ezra Cornell to co-locate his women's seminary at Ithaca, because that was the right choice, because this is the right place. In the beginning, there were a handful of acres in one building, and some graduating classes had but a single member. But a dedicated few gave dollars and time and heart to buoy Henry Wells's vision, and that is a tradition that happily continues. A few years ago, some clever person claimed for the nearby city of Auburn the brand, history's hometown. I like that a lot. But I would point out that before she put down roots in Hardinsburg's Corners, history sojourned here, and she makes frequent returns. Welcome to our particular arc.
Greetings to our president are presented in the order of the length of relationship with the college. First, the students. Representing the student body, both from the class of 2017, Leslie Green and Catherine Moradian. Leslie serves as the chair of Community Court, and Katie is this year's Collegiate Cabinet President.
Students know, the Honor Code is a central part of what makes Wells such a special place. This pledge we make facilitates a unique kind of trust throughout our community, fostering deeper relationships with ourselves and with others. In our closely knit community of learners, we are empowered to take risks, knowing that under the Honor Code, honest mistakes are met with opportunities to grow, and by students, staff, and faculty who are there to help us back on track. In turn, the Honor Code holds us to the highest standards of ourselves, urging us to consider with every action whether we are, in fact, reasonably well beyond our years as students and well past the geographic boundaries of this campus. As students, we know the Honor Code affords us many freedoms, but above all, it sets the foundation for meaningful relationships, connections built upon genuine trust, respect, integrity, and accountability, many of which will be with us for a lifetime. President Gibraltar, as you accept this gift, we hope that it serves as a reminder of these very special parts of Wells. We hope that each time you see it hanging on your wall, it encourages you to find new connections within our community and find new ways to open yourself up to these relationships that make Wells, Wells. Today, as we present you with this copy of the Wells College Honor Code, we honor community, honor Wells, and honor your commitment to ensuring that Wells remains a place for such relationships to develop for generations to come. Thank you.
President Gibraltar, it is my honor, on behalf of the students of Wells College, to present you with a copy of the Wells College Honor Code. On the table.
Representing the staff, Kit Van Orman. Kit is the college's Director of Human Resources and serves as chair of the staff forum. She is a member of the class of 1979 at Wells.
Good afternoon, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to say a few words and present a small token to President Gibraltar on behalf of the staff. Leading a small, private, liberal arts college is not an easy task, and Wells College is no exception. The staff is pleased and excited that Dr. Gibraltar, a man with excellent credentials and a history of exceptional contributions to other educational institutions, is willing to take the wheel and lead Wells into the future. We know the road that lies ahead will not be smooth, nor will it be bright and sunny. There will be potholes and bumps, rain, snow, sleet. There will be detour signs and probably a few stop signs that will cause moments of hesitation. Having said this, we also know that no matter what is tossed into the road, President Gibraltar will keep to the course, remove the obstacle, and drive on. You have a vision for Wells College, and you will continue until you finish what you have started. So what could the staff possibly give such a well-gifted leader? The gift of light. Light will help guide you during those foggy days and dark nights when the sky is full of clouds. Light will help you read your road map, keep you on the road when it twists and turns. Light will shine into those dark spaces that hide pitfalls and traps, and also help you see which way to turn when the road divides. But most of all, it will allow you to see that you have many individuals that will be with you along the journey. You are not alone on this road. We, the staff, are with you. Please know that we appreciate all that you have accomplished thus far and look forward to working with you as Wells moves forward into a new and exciting future. Thank you.
Representing the faculty, Professor Scott Heinekamp. Scott is a professor of physics and serves as faculty marshal. He was also one of 3 faculty representatives on the Presidential Search Committee.
Greetings to the Board of Trustees, distinguished graduates, friends of Wells, staff, students, my fellow faculty, emeritus and serving, and President Gibraltar. I've known Jonathan for less than 2 years, and I remember well the day he strode into a hotel meeting room in Rochester to be interviewed by the search committee on which I served as faculty representative. He made an extremely positive impression as the conversation continued. It quickly became clear to all in the room that he had studied Wells, he knew and understood its various situations, and he conveyed a real surety that he was confident and capable of leading Wells to and beyond its upcoming centennial. You know the rest. We recommended that he visit campus, and on that visit some other sides of Jonathan appeared. He betrayed true kindness and a strong desire to connect to the Wells community. You know the rest. We recommended that he be selected. The board unanimously accepted our recommendation. The position was offered to hire Jonathan as our 19th president, and he accepted. And now, on this special occasion, it is my sincere pleasure and honor to present you, Jonathan, with this symbolic and hard-hitting tool that you may deploy as you see fit. A gavel surely will come in handy at those faculty meetings.
Representing the Emeriti faculty, Professor A. Thomas Vaughter. Tom is Professor Emeritus of Biology, having served the college from 1978 to 2011. He is also a visiting professor of ecology and evolutionary biology at Cornell University.
Good afternoon. My role here today is to welcome Jonathan on behalf of the Emeritus faculty. It's an honor to do so. As Emeritus faculty, my colleagues and I don't get the opportunity to interact with Jonathan as regularly as those on campus do. Still, we've been impressed with his openness, reaching out to all sectors of the Wells community and to the community at large. His regular reports on the status of the college and his visibility in the village of Aurora sustain Wells in the hearts and minds of those who sustain her and keep all of us close to the college. As an ecologist and an environmentalist, I especially appreciate Jonathan's long involvement with environmental issues as they affect colleges and universities and as those institutions affect the environment. At his former institution, Frostburg State University in Maryland, Jonathan was one of the first to sign on to the American College and University President's Climate Commitment. And under his leadership, Frostburg State adopted a number of programs supporting environmental sustainability. He has brought those concerns with him to Wells. I sit on the President's Advisory Committee on Sustainability, a committee Jonathan originated and maintains to inform him and the community of Wells' progress towards environmental sustainability. Just one indicator of his commitment to the environment and to sustainability. Wells has the good fortune to sit in a remarkably beautiful region. We enjoy it, and we advertise it in all our recruiting and fundraising materials. But maintaining that beauty and that uniqueness makes it incumbent on all of us to do whatever we can to preserve and protect those special qualities. Of primary importance in Wells's natural surrounding is Cayuga Lake and its watershed, sustaining life to all of those who live here. So I, on behalf of the Emeritus faculty of Wells College, offer this water pitcher in recognition of Jonathan's commitment to our local and global environment, and symbolizing the importance of water as a sustaining element in it. Thank you.
Representing the alumni and alumni of Wells College, Amy Sarand McNaughton, Wells College class of 1986. Amy is president of the Wells College Association of Alumnae and Alumni and is a member of the college's Board of Trustees.
As alumni, Wells hits you in your heart. You come here to learn, to live, to discover who you are, believing that you are making your mark on Wells And then one day, you realize that Wells has made her mark on you. Aurora and Wells are special, inspirational places. And when you leave Wells and you join the greater Wells community, you are joining a network of lifetime support and friendship, and you are forever changed. When John decided to leave Frostburg, at the same time that we were looking for a new president, he applied for the job. He was captivated by our history, our traditions. Traditions that connect past, present, and future generations. He visited campus and he appreciated our beauty, our potential. He experienced what countless of alumni have shared. You step on campus and you know that Wells is where you belong. So he chose to bring his nationally recognized, sought-after talents here to help us write our next chapter. He came to make his mark on Wells. But I can already see that Wells has made her mark on him and has struck him right in the heart. The sycamore tree in front of Maine was planted before the first Maine building was completed and is an iconic image for Wells. It is a living symbol of our traditions and the connections that we form here. So, on behalf of the alumni and alumni, I am honored to present this sycamore sapling to Dr. Jonathan Gibralter.
Thank you. You did good. Oh, you did it. It would have been okay.
Representing the village of Aurora, Mayor Bonnie Epgar Bennett. Bonnie was first elected mayor of Aurora in 2010 and won re-election in 2014.
Before my more formal comments, I'd like to say that personally, it's been a pleasure working with John over the past year. He's been open, friendly, proactive, and a fierce defender of Wells College, all traits I very much appreciate. And I know that his determination and enthusiasm will keep us all on our toes for many years to come. As mayor and a longtime resident of the village, it's an honor to be welcoming a new Wells College president to Aurora. Sorry. And to give voice once again to both the gratitude and sense of responsibility that characterizes the relationship of the college and the village one to another. Sorry, airplane cold. For our part, we're indebted not just for the jobs and the economic vitality Wells has brought over the years, but also for benefits that are much more intangible. Wells has provided this very small village a population that's educated and engaged, a diversity of viewpoints and backgrounds that make our village far more cosmopolitan than its size would predict, and a cultural environment that usually you'd have to sacrifice to live in such a rural, beautiful place. The lives of Wells College and the village of Aurora are intricately entwined. Some people would say inextricably entangled. And our mutual dependency doesn't always make for sweetness and light, as any college president or mayor of a college town will tell you. This makes it all the more important, from my point of view, that Wells have a strong and experienced leader, innovative and open to change, eager to tackle hard issues that Wells shares with the village and work toward the common good. you found that leader in Jonathan Gibraltar. So, on behalf of the Aurora Board of Trustees and the citizens of Aurora, I'm pleased to officially welcome John, Lori, and their family to Aurora, and to present him with the key to the village. I have to apologize that we may not have the exact key that represents the village. This one might be a little too large, but it's presented with warmth and anticipation of a long and fruitful tenure in Aurora as the 19th president of Wells College and citizen of Aurora.
Representing the Cayuga Nation, seat warmer for the Heron clan of the Cayuga Nation, Dan Hill. Dan will share a musical selection on flute. His selection is from the natural world in recognition of the ways in which nature surrounds and supports us. Dan has also taught courses in the First Nation and Indigenous Studies at Wells College.
I want to say some things that we need to be reminded of. This is Cayuga land. This is our home. We are in the process of coming home. And so we have been working to make sure that everybody knows who we are and how we think of the world, how we think of each other, how we treat each other. Those are the things that we're taught as kids. We're taught to think of 7 generations of our decisions on how we make a living affects those children to come, those faces to come. And so right now I want to thank some of the leadership, Roger Silversmith, Mina Key, and Sam George, for making the effort to come here and be part of this inauguration. The music that comes from this flute reminds me of all the things you hear outside. In the middle of winter, you hear cold wind going by. Earlier, the wind was making the microphone create thunder. And that's the waterers. The thunderers bring the water to us, replenishing the water. That's very important to us because everything that exists and has life needs water. And so this music comes from the sounds of the natural world.
In setting the stage for the environment for today's college president, please welcome Dr. Kevin Kruger, President of NASPA, Student Affairs Administrators in Higher Education, for his remarks entitled, The American College President.
Thanks. President Gibraltar, members of the Wells College Board of Trustees, faculty, staff, students, distinguished presidential emeriti. It's my pleasure to be here with you today to celebrate the appointment of Dr. Jonathan Gibraltar as the 19th president of Wells College. The American College President, not an easy job. Being a college president today demands a special set of talents to maneuver the shifting tides of American higher education. In his book, Divine Living, The Essential Guide to Your True Destiny, Anton St. Martin describes the path to fulfillment and happiness and how to make a difference in the world. In his book, there's one quote which makes me think of the role of the college president today. He says, "In this lifetime, we are like Superman, who must remain disguised as the nerdy newspaper journalist Clark Kent, or Harry Potter and his friends, who are not allowed to do magic while they are on holiday, away from Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. But even Harry Potter and Clark Kent get to tap into their special powers once in a while, especially when the going gets tough." And isn't that the essence of a college president? Strong yet compassionate, action-oriented one day and behind the scenes the next, a trusted confidant, the person who gets things done, immersed in budgets and planning one day, and the spiritual leader of the campus the next. Indeed, the college president must be a master of special powers, who often must make miracles happen and create magic with constrained human and fiscal resources. I think President Gibraltar is that kind of president. You know, just think of the many issues facing colleges today and the need for a strong and capable leader. Today, a liberal arts education is increasingly under attack. As our economy moves towards becoming a technological and information society, the cry for more science, technology, engineering, and math degrees gets louder. You know, as a result of rising college costs and a challenging job market, the American public is even questioning the value of college. In a recent poll by the Public Agenda, only 42% of Americans believe that college is necessary for people to succeed in today's world. And yet the reality is that by 2020, 65% of jobs in America will require a 2- or 4-year degree. What kind of graduates will they need? The very kind that Wells College is producing. There's more and more evidence that a liberal arts foundation is critical in the fast-paced, interconnected world in which we live. Even in the tech world, there's a demand for those who exhibit critical thinking, innovation, problem-solving, and communication skills, all core competencies in the liberal arts. Or as Steve Jobs famously mused, that for technology to be truly brilliant, it must be coupled with artistry. Jobs says it's in Apple's DNA that technology alone is not enough. It's technology married with the liberal arts, married with the humanities, that yields the results that make our hearts sing. You know, it's no wonder that a third of all Fortune 500 CEOs have liberal arts degrees. And today's college students often have a different view of the college years than we've seen in past decades. In 1971, when college freshmen were asked about the purpose of college, 73%, almost 3/4, said that it was essential or very important to develop a meaningful philosophy of life. Only a little more than 1/3 thought that the purpose of college was to be well off financially. Well, as you can imagine, 40 years later, not surprisingly, those numbers have switched. Today, less than half of our students believe it is essential or important to develop a meaningful philosophy of life, while 80% of college freshmen believe they are in college to become well off financially. It's hardly shocking, given that these students came of age during the Great Recession and have been bombarded with articles in the press, like in the Wall Street Journal, which features a good-looking Starbucks employee, and the headline reads, "Welcome to the well-educated barista economy." It's another reason we need the kind of vision that President Gibraltar has for Wells College. And understanding that for today's college student, they want a college degree that is marketable and that has a career focus, while ensuring a strong, rich liberal arts foundation is present. The kind of innovative curriculum imagined by President Gibraltar here at Wells College is exactly what is needed for Wells College graduates to excel in their chosen careers. Small colleges like Wells provide connections and community and networking that simply can't be found at larger universities. President Gibraltar gets that. He understands this. His easygoing style makes him easily accessible to students, faculty, staff, and clearly many of the Wells community. You know, in President Gibraltar, we have not only a visionary leader with special powers inside the Wells campus community, but also someone who has been recognized as a national leader. He is one of the few college presidents in the United States that has taken a public position on combating the abuse of alcohol by college students. As President Gibraltar aptly points out to first-year students and parents, 1,800 college students a year die from alcohol-related causes, or as he has said, literally drink themselves to death. His leadership and advocacy to support a reduction in college student binge drinking and to increase education and prevention efforts on campus have been extraordinary. It's important to note that for the past 5 years, binge drinking among college students actually has been decreasing. I believe his leadership in this important area has certainly played a part in that decrease. As the previous speaker indicated, President Gibraltar is also one of the founders of the American College and University Presidents Campus Climate Commitment. It's one of the largest collaborative efforts in the country among colleges, engaging over 600 colleges and universities representing several million students. Each campus with a plan to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions down to zero over the next 10 years. Frankly, this community and the beauty here, I can't imagine a better place to continue that commitment. It is clear that Wells College has the right leader, and like Clark Kent and Harry Potter, has the right mix of humility, intellect, and yes, special powers to continue to make Wells College the first-rate liberal arts college that it is. Jonathan, congratulations and good luck in this next chapter of your distinguished career. House brought with you a special gift, which is a Harry Potter wand. You can use this with the faculty, or you can use this with alumni or students, but this is a remembrance of our time together. Thank you very much.
Kevin, before you leave campus, you have to go see our dining hall.
Okay. I've heard.
As Wells College is chartered by the state of New York, Governor Andrew Cuomo sends his greetings. Quote, "On behalf of all New Yorkers, I congratulate President Gibraltar on his inauguration as president of Wells College." Chair of the Wells College Board of Trustees, Carrie A. Bolton, Wells College class of 1992, will now preside over the official investiture of Jonathan Gibraltar as the 19th president of Wells College.
My fellow trustees and honorary trustees, Wells College students and families, faculty and emeriti faculty, staff, alumni and alumni, distinguished delegates, to all of our guests and friends of the college, welcome to this auspicious occasion. Thank you so much for being with us. The prospectus for Wells' 19th president read, I quote, "The Wells community seeks a collaborative, creative, and visionary president who will continue a critical revitalization of the college. The next president must be enthusiastic and effective in leading sustainable change at Wells at a time when the college will celebrate its 150th anniversary. Knowing that Wells' next president would lead during a period of tremendous change and incredible opportunity, we sought a leader who would be both inspirational and entrepreneurial, who was both visionary and practical, a big thinker and a real doer. In Dr. Gibraltar, we've found such a leader. From the very beginning of the search, we identified the need for a president who would articulate a vision, develop a strategic plan for Wells' future. Done. Within his first several months, he galvanized the community to develop a fresh vision for Wells' future. He led the design of a fluid and adaptive strategic plan with clearly defined goals, initiatives, and measurable outcomes. Last October, President Gibraltar presented the board with a collaborative, forward-looking, action-oriented plan, which we endorsed. We sought a president committed to sustaining the momentum for curricular change. Done. With heretofore unheard of timeliness, new majors in business, the sciences, Education, sustainability, and criminal justice have been approved or are very near completion. We knew that rebranding and repositioning Wells in the marketplace would be critical. Thus far, we've implemented a new tagline, developed new materials, improved our website, revitalized a partnership with one of the country's leading admissions consultants. We're well on our way. We sought an experienced leader who would strengthen the college's financial condition, not just as an independent outcome, but as a function of elevating our admission and fundraising capacity. President Gibralter has moved swiftly, brought in strong leadership in the financial office, in advancement and in admissions. While being a small college may mean we're always somewhat fragile, under President Gibralter's leadership, the financial health and sustainability necessary to ensure our future is within reach. Looking back, it seems when we articulated the desired characteristics of the new president, we actually might have been describing Dr. Gibralter. Namely, a creative, inspiring, and thoughtful leader who can articulate the value of a liberal arts education, an entrepreneur able to prioritize critical issues and make decisions, a team builder who values staff and faculty and inspires integrity and accountability, the ability to further enrich the college's philanthropic culture, a sophisticated understanding of enrollment management, a president accessible to all who is transparent, inclusive, and a communicative leader, and lastly, a terrific listener. A profoundly caring and careful leader, in Jonathan Gibralter we have found just what we sought. Dr. Gibralter, I now call upon you to please step forward. Dr. Gibralter, the president of the Board of Trustees of Wells College has chosen you to serve as president of Wells College. Yours will be the great challenge and privilege of leading Wells into her next 100 years. Yours will be the privilege and responsibility of guiding Wells to the position of strength and honor that is both her history and her destiny. With your vision, your intellect, and a steady hand of your leadership, may Wells College achieve her promise and greet her future with confidence, boldness, enthusiasm, and honor. Marie? The medallion, please.
Madam Chair, in presenting you with the medallion, I confirm the recommendation of the Presidential Search Committee that Dr. Jonathan Gibralter shall serve as the 19th President of Wells College. Dr. Gibralter's appointment followed an extensive national search recommended by the 12-person search committee and by a unanimous vote of the college's Board of Trustees. Dr. Gibralter brings a wealth of experience and strong leadership. In him and in his leadership, the committee has great confidence that the mission of Wells will manifest.
And now, by virtue of the Wells College Board of Trustees, I place around your shoulders the Presidential Medallion as symbol of the office and singular responsibility for leadership it entails. On behalf of the Board of Trustees and in concert with the wider Wells community, I welcome you as the 19th President of Wells College. I assure you of our confidence in your leadership and promise our support to you as you guide this wonderful college toward the future, the profound sense of worth that is her destiny. I now present to you, friends of the college, the 19th President of Wells College, Dr. Jonathan Gibralter.
Forgive me, a little bit overwhelmed. Madam Chair and Vice Chair, members of the Wells College Board of Trustees and honorary trustees, Wells College students, faculty, and emeriti faculty, staff, members of the Alumni Association, esteemed delegates, guests, families, friends of the college, welcome to campus. And thank you for being with us on this beautiful, sunny fall day. As I stand here on the brink of a new era at Wells College, I hope you'll indulge me as I first need to give some personal thanks to a few people. To Board Chair Carrie Bolton, Wells Alumna Class of 1992, thank you so much. To Board Vice Chair Marie Chapman Carroll, Wells Alumna Class of 75, who also served as Chair of the Presidential Search Committee, I thank you. And to all of our trustees and honorary trustees, your confidence in me is deeply appreciated, and I'm so honored to be serving as your 19th president. To the faculty and staff, the confidence you've placed in me is secondary to the deep appreciation I've gained for all that you do for Wells and her students. To our students, I'm so incredibly pleased that you've selected Wells College as your undergraduate institution. And your presence here makes Wells a better place today and for many, many generations that will follow. To our alumna and alumni, thank you so much for sharing this fall alumni weekend with me for this inauguration. I can't begin to tell you how much I enjoy getting to know you and coming to appreciate the deep love you have for your alma mater. Congratulations to our WCA Young Alumni Award winners. I was so honored to join you for dinner last night and incredibly proud of your accomplishments. To all those involved who worked for many months to make this day a reality, the Inauguration Planning Committee and the countless other faculty and staff who've gone above their regular duties, your efforts are deeply appreciated. The theme selected of Simply Wells connects us to the essence of what and who we are, and as well as builds a connection to our profound commitment to sustainability, which you've heard is a commitment that's very close to my heart. I also want to acknowledge our partnership with the Inns of Aurora and Wells Dining for preparing the farm-to-table dinner that follows this ceremony. Many of the dishes contain local produce and even a donation of hot fudge from one of our dessert selections, and a special thanks to Katie Camaro, class of '85, for your generosity. To all our friends and guests who are here today, thank you for joining us on this historic day. I hope your relationship with Wells stays as strong as it has ever been. I also want to thank all who brought greetings today and presented me with symbols of their relationship with the president of this institution. These all mean so much to me and will hold a very special place in the memory of this ceremony. I want to thank the Book Arts Center for printing the cover to the programs you're holding for today's ceremony, as well as keeping such a beautiful art form alive. And I want to thank Kevin Kruger, a good friend. Thank you for sharing your insights and thoughts on my behalf for this special day. Thank you, Kevin. To David Fernandez, president of Cayuga Lake Landscape Company out of Ithaca, who graciously donated a red oak tree in my honor. We were privileged to plant that tree by Cleveland Hall earlier today, and hopefully it will provide beauty for many years to come. And most importantly, I want to thank my wife, Lori, who isn't here with us today because she's home very sick, but who's been close by my side throughout my career as my strongest source of support, my best friend, and my partner. I'm so grateful for our life together and for all that we have. And I also want to acknowledge that while Lori's been caring for our grandson Mason for these past 3 years, that she's a professional in her own right. Lori has a master's degree in social work from Syracuse University, where we met, is a licensed master social worker in the state of New York, and has her permanent certification as a social worker in New York. Lori has taught college classes, been a social worker on a dialysis unit, and for much of her career has worked with young children. I can say that with absolute confidence that many of the children she worked with We're very fortunate to have had her in their lives. I also want to express my love and appreciation to my sons, Mac and Kevin, who have themselves been a great source of pride for me in my life. And I wouldn't be true to my heart if I didn't express my love to our grandson, Mason. We're all sorry that Mason couldn't be with us today, but he himself has been recovering from illness. So I want to tell you a funny story. I have a video clip on my phone, and it is of Mason kicking a soccer ball at a program in Syracuse called Little Kickers Soccer. A few seconds into the video, Kevin enters into the screen, and he's wearing a Wells College sweatshirt, and Mason says W. When I ask Mason what W stands for, he says, Wells College. And I always say, that's right, Mason, that's where Grandpa works. And finally, I want to express my appreciation to my extended family, those who cannot be here today and those no longer living who would have been very proud on this occasion. And I'm certain that my mother and stepfather are watching the live stream feed of this ceremony from their home in Florida. As I think about this occasion and the importance and gravity of the trust placed in me as the medallion was placed around my neck, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of several previous Wells College presidents that have gone before me. These include Dr. Patty McGill Peterson, who served Wells for 7 years in the early 1980s. Thank you for being here. Lisa Marsh Ryerson, President Emerita in class of 81, whose tenure ran for 18 years. Thank you for being here. And Dr. Thomas DeWitt, who served as the college's most recent interim president just prior to my appointment. Tom, thank you for your service to this institution and the foundation you've given to launch Wells into a promising future. You know, no one starts from scratch. None of us stands alone. We rely on the efforts of those who came before us. And it is fitting that we should honor that work. And since Wells does not award honorary degrees, in 2014, the Board of Trustees established the Wells Medal to periodically honor those who've brought great distinction to the college, provided extraordinary service, or fundamentally shaped the course of our development. And you'll notice that Tom is wearing his Wells College medal. He received the medal for just the second time in which it had ever been awarded in 2015 in the final commencement ceremony that he presided over. Pleasant T. Rowland, class of 62, was the first recipient of the medal for her work in revitalizing important properties in the village of Aurora. And Sue Ray Sullivan, class of 1951, received this award at reunion this past summer in recognition of her decades-long philanthropy and stewardship of Wells. Our supporters extend beyond campus as well, and I'd like to recognize a few distinguished guests we have with us today. New York State Assemblyman Mr. Gary Finch, representing the 126th Assembly District. Marcia Hurling Finch graduated from Wells in 1983. Gary, thank you for being with us today. Tasaka Cayuga Chief Stephen E. Jacobs of the Cayuga Nation, thank you for being with us today. Cayuga Chief Samuel George, thank you so much for being with us today. You know, many of you may have wondered why we're just holding this inauguration over a year since I first stepped into the president's office. Because most presidential inaugurations occur early on in a president's tenure and not a year later. But the decision to wait was made for a couple of reasons. First, it gave me a chance to get to know Wells on a deeper level, as well as providing all of you an opportunity to get to know me a little bit better. I wanted this event to be a little bit more personal and not based on a very limited vision. Finally, we wanted to hold this community celebration when we had the best opportunity to have more of our trustees, alumni, and students on campus at the same time. What better way to share our Wells experience? Lewis Jefferson Long, 11th president of Wells College, had his inauguration on October 20th, 1951, during fall weekend for just that reason. As Kevin mentioned, the liberal arts experience is very important to me. It's why I do what I do. John Masefield once wrote, "There were few earthly things more beautiful than a university." In his remarks, Masefield was making the point that the university is a place where, quote, those who hate ignorance can strive to know, where those who perceive truth can strive to make others see, end quote. Masefield went on to say, there are few things more enduring than a university. Religions may split into sect or heresy. Dynasties may perish or be supplanted, but for century after century, the university will continue. And the stream of life will pass through it, and the thinker and the seeker will be bound together in the undying cause of bringing thought into the world. I would substitute the word college for university because I believe it was Masefield's intent to describe all of academia. I believe Henry Wells felt this way also when he found his way to Aurora, New York in 1850. He fell in love with this beautiful place and was committed to creating the Glen Park Seminary School for Women. His home, Glen Park, still stands as one of our residence halls. And you heard earlier that Henry communicated with Ezra Cornell and informed him of his plans, and Ezra tried to entice him to bring that seminary school to Ithaca, to Cornell University, but Henry was insistent that it be here in Aurora. Oh, he purchased the bricks from Ezra to construct main building, and even though the building burned down early on, it still stands as a historical icon of this fine college, founded in 1868. For generations, Wells College, while never included in the list of the Seven Sisters in American higher education, was considered by many to be one of the finest in the country. The hallmark of a Wells education has been a very high-quality liberal arts education delivered by a world-class faculty. And I repeat, a world-class faculty. The emphasis at Wells has always been on sustaining small enrollment where faculty could teach classes as seminars and where they would relate to students in a very different way than at many larger colleges and universities. Focus has been on required internships, a required senior thesis for most students, which rivals a graduate thesis for its rigor, and mostly, at its heart, the importance of a true liberal arts education. Now in October 2016, we're all here together at this very special place called Wells College on this significant occasion, the inauguration of our 19th president. However, this is not a time to recognize my inauguration alone. This is a time when we must define what we stand for at Wells. For nearly 150 years, this college has stood as a place where so many have passed through and remarkably stayed so closely connected. At the same time, for the first time in history, I don't think we can be absolutely certain that all small liberal arts colleges will persist on for generations to come. We only have to look back at this past year to see evidence of at least 3 small colleges that have closed their doors forever. And I resolve to you today that this will not be the fate of Wells as long as I'm here as your president. If you look at the historical evolution of all women's colleges, you found that many have either become coeducational, merged with other colleges, and many have had to close their doors. 50 years ago, there were over 200 women's colleges in the United States. Today, there are approximately 60 still in existence. You are all well aware that Wells became coeducational in 2005. And I know I know that there are some of you who believe that if we had not become co-ed, we would have continued on to be a very strong institution into the future. And I can't look back and second-guess the past. I can only let the past inform the future. And I wish I could predict the future. I believe that the members of my cabinet and I are pursuing all the right strategies to keep Wells on track to assure a confident future and to persist for a very long time to come. And the question is, what will our future look like? There are so many forces that impact American higher education today that make that question an incredibly difficult one to understand. A poll completed by the Gallup organization reported that many of today's high school students, sadly, are not even aware of what a true liberal arts education is. With this in mind, we have to decide what it means in the coming years to be a private liberal arts college. What will we teach? What do we value in crafting our curriculum? What will be our distinctive niche, and how will we offer it to our students? In other words, how will Wells College remain relevant in a world where young people spend a lot of time staring at the screens of their phones, texting, posting to Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter? How will we distinguish a Wells education for the 21st century? Historically at Wells College, we've been able to recruit the very finest faculty members who typically have remained at Wells for their entire careers. However, that's not the trajectory of newly minted PhD faculty in today's culture. There's much more movement throughout their careers. In addition, as we've expanded our curriculum to include business and entrepreneurship, sustainability, criminal justice, and soon the health sciences, how will we recruit faculty members who are themselves subject matter experts in these fields and also very well grounded in the liberal arts? And as we look into the future, we also have to realize that for many decades, Wells alumni have been incredibly generous in their philanthropic support. But the truth is that more recent generations are not at a point in their lives or their careers where philanthropy is a priority. And for some who are, Wells College is not yet on their list of priorities. If you add to that the ever-increasing cost of tuition, the competitive environment in which Wells College resides, with many public and private colleges and universities within a 100-mile radius of our campus, I think you can see why this is such a challenge. In addition, throughout the nation, the cost of higher education continues to escalate exponentially, while institutional aid similarly increases. In other words, private colleges discount tuition, sometimes such that it is less expensive to attend private college than to attend a public university. The model is broken, and we need to fix it. These are the types of discussions we're having as we look for ways to keep Wells sustainable for the future. In our semester read, The Impossible Will Take a Little While, by Paul Rogat Loeb, who hopefully many of you met yesterday, he quotes Dr. Benjamin Mays, president of Morehouse College, from 1940 to 1967. Dr. Mays is quoted as having said, "The tragedy of life doesn't lie in not reaching your goal. The tragedy lies in having no goal to reach. It isn't a calamity to die with dreams unfilled, but it's a calamity not to dream. It's not a disgrace to not reach for the stars, but a calamity to have no stars to reach for. Not failure, but low aim is a sin." Only a few short months after I arrived at Wells, Victor Hammer Fellow Jenna Rodriguez brought me one of the most incredibly kind gifts I think I've ever received. It was a gift from the Book Arts Center. During the previous semester, as part of the activism symposium, she had placed a typewriter, remember? A typewriter? Around campus, and after she told them what it was and taught them how to use it, she asked students, faculty, and staff to share their vision for Wells to be compiled and presented to me as I began my duties. This is such a thoughtful gift. I've tried to share a few along the way in my remarks at campus events. One contributor shared their vision for Wells would be a Wells that is radically open to the future, but preserves the traditions of the past. An institution instilled with a pedagogy of loving the other, a safe place where everyone feels free to be their authentic selves, a diverse community in which all voices are presented and heard. And another is from one of our alumni delegates present here today, Brad Murray, class of 2015. He stated that this was for everyone for everyone to truly reason wisely and not just blindly follow the status quo. I really enjoy hearing from others and their experience as they live their dreams out on this campus. It is by listening to others and their stories that we can learn how to recognize and communicate that which distinguishes Wells and makes it such an incredibly special place. So last fall, we began deeper conversations that Chair Bolton talked about earlier to help us learn of who we are and who we want to be for years to come. We developed a strategic plan that was collaboratively developed, reviewed, and approved by the administrative team, our students, faculty, and staff, offered for public comment to the community, and approved by our Board of Trustees. In this plan, we have goals, we have dreams, and we reach for the stars. Our strategic plan asks us to focus on 5 important areas, including a focus on academics through curricular innovation and faculty development, asks us to improve our facilities while we attend to and care for our sustainable campus, asks us to tell our story with a bold multimedia strategy and marketing strategy, asks us to develop ongoing and new sources of revenue and build upon our instructional technology infrastructure. If any of our visitors have AT&T, don't even bother looking at your phone. All of these were identified through the strategic planning process as being essential to our present and our future. Within these priorities, one issue arose as paramount, which Wells has tried to define for decades, and that is sustaining our enrollment. As I said earlier, this becomes even more complex as we consider that the demography of high school students has declined, the cost of higher education continues to escalate, and people come to evaluate the return on investment for a college degree. Many justifiably ask if having long-term student debt is worth the ultimate reward. Many young people are no longer viewing college as an investment. They're viewing it as an expense with long-term consequences. So the point is that recruiting students, not just for Wells, for all colleges, has become an enormous challenge like never before imagined as we work hard to define our value in the marketplace of higher education. We are working to develop a regional focus defined as a 100-mile radius around our campus to include Onondaga, Cayuga, Tompkins, and Monroe counties, as far as Rochester and Buffalo, because we found that students recruited from these areas that apply to Wells, they're more likely to attend, and they're more likely to persist through to graduation. And I want you to know that we can and will expand beyond that region, but initially, we'll be certain that we're once again a presence in our own backyard. Very soon, you'll begin to see our presence in local print, televised media, and as appropriate throughout social media. We want to make sure students are aware that Wells College is a viable option for their future. We're also reconnecting with regional community colleges and with private preparatory schools, strengthening our partnerships with these institutions and looking to increase our international enrollment, researching several options for a source of new students. During the open sessions with students, another theme arose as they expressed their desire to see more diversity on campus, where a staff person would be dedicated to multicultural diversity and inclusiveness. As a result, Wells College welcomed Letitia Fusell this summer as our new Director of Campus Life for Diversity and Inclusiveness to help keep us aware of the language we use and how we need to relate to every person on campus, whether they share the same background as ourselves or not. I always want to be listening to see how concerns can be resolved in the most effective and efficient way to further the mission of the college and to grant our graduates a better life. Thanks to our Board of Trustees, you can see that efforts have been made to improve facilities. The renovation of Zabriskie Hall has created the Center for Sustainability and the Sullivan Center for Business and Entrepreneurship. We've renovated the main Schwartz Athletic Arena and added a multi-turf field for athletics. We're in the process of constructing a learning commons and writing center in the library, thanks to grants secured from the Hagedorn and Booth Ferris Foundations, along with the support of a private donor. We've expanded educational technology to our campus and are renovating our existing residence halls, including bathrooms, hallways, lounges, with the faculty parlors in Maine soon to occur. After meeting with students concerned about accessibility, we've made several changes across campus that include adding a ramp to the library bridge to make it fully accessible. To provide more gathering spaces for students, we've added the Well, a campus pub, in the Summer Center, and are also seeking funds to renovate the Summer Center into a fully functional student center. These investments all make really good sense because today's students demand high-quality facilities in which to be educated, but also for their recreation. Our dream is to continue to make these kinds of improvements at Wells. Since being here at Wells, I can't even tell you how encouraged and grateful to our alumna and alumni I am who have so generously supported their alma mater over the years. There are not many small colleges that can boast that a significant portion of their operating budget comes from unrestricted gifts to the annual fund. In fact, many of them only receive less than 2% of revenue from alumna and alumni towards their operating budget. And that speaks to your love and commitment of Wells and your heartfelt belief that you all have a stake in our future. As we begin to think about our sesquicentennial and our next 150 years, we are enormously grateful to Jean and Alan Hoyer for a transformative gift that will help us launch a comprehensive campaign to assure that many more students have the opportunity to experience Wells College in the future. Giving to one's alma mater always comes from the heart, and it's deeply personal. I hope that each one of you will consider what Wells has been to you over the years and what you hope it will be into the future, and consider supporting us through a campaign that we will be moving into in the not-too-distant future. Together, we'll build our endowment, establish more scholarships, support our academic programs and faculty, and further beautify our campus. In conclusion, what can I say beyond thank you? I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today and for your support of Wells College. My thanks to so many that have come before you and those who will support us into the future. As John F. Kennedy once said, change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or present are certain to miss the future. I believe that together we'll capture a future in a way that has only before just been imagined. Thank you very much.
Please remain standing and join in the singing of the Wells College alma mater. benediction this afternoon is delivered by the Reverend Barbara Blom,
United
Church of Christ. Barbara serves as minister at St. Paul's Evangelical Lutheran Church of America in Spencer, New York.
Hello. What a wonderful, wonderful event. I am so excited for the future of Wells. I'm so excited to have President Gibraltar joining our Wells family. Welcome. Very exciting. I just have to tell you that I think it's so appropriate that Dr. Kruger talked about magic, because Aurora and Wells College are very magical indeed. This morning, as they were planting the tree, some geese flew overhead to welcome Dr. Gibraltar, and then flew off into that life-giving lake that we live beside, that offers so much to this area. Now, I attended Wells in the 80s, and one of the remarkable things about Wells, among so many others, is the fact that professors who are now 30 years later my friends, are now my friends. And another remarkable thing about Wells, among many others, is the impact that these once professors, now friends, had upon my life. Many of them are here today and participated in this ceremony. And in the 80s, we were made very aware by these very same professors of the importance of the impact of our environment upon all of us. And even those of us who were not science majors learned the importance of caring for our planet. And that knowledge has impacted my life as a parent, as a minister, and as a human being. And so as we come to the close of this ceremony, as we celebrate a bright future for Wells, let us also take a moment to reflect upon this occasion as we officially welcome President Gibraltar. And let us also be silent for just a moment as we listen to the sounds of this beautiful place, as we experience once again the spirit of love and community, commitment and learning. Breathe deep the clean lake air. Listen to the sounds of the geese, the leaves rustling in the wind. Let us take a moment to honor this place, and this time, as Wells recommits herself to educating young people to listen, to learn, and to think. Go forth from this place, my friends. Those of you who graduated years ago, those who will graduate, and those who love and cherish Wells and the Wells community. Go forth with a commitment to love justice, seek mercy, and walk humbly upon the earth. Go in peace. May you know that you are blessed, and namaste.
On behalf of President Gibraltar, all are invited to join the Wells College community and our guests for the Farm to Table Community Celebration Dinner beginning at 4 p.m. on the Ryerson Commons in the Dining Hall in Main Building. Please remain standing for our recessional.